forget it. It just takes too much energy and too much pain and suffering. And to get up on stage, you have to have a thick skin, of course. And so I commend all of these, I wouldn't call them men, like men, people, all these Peter Pan guys. To get up on stage and actually be able to perform stand-up is like real pressure. So I want you guys to at least pretend like you're laughing, even if they're not totally hilarious, or like, oh my god, that joke is so not funny. Try not to do the nervous laugh, because then we know you're faking it. But you know, just think about, like if you were with your last boyfriend, you just to fake it all the way. Okay? So just do them a favor. And you know, I gotta say, for your first show, this is a sold out show. So give yourselves a big round of applause. For giving us hard-earned crypto money that you've earned this week on the crypto markets to come for this show here. So I know you're all crypto enthusiasts because you're still here after 18 months. So you're obviously all a giant privileged bunch. So be privileged tonight and laugh, because you're still here and all your idiot friends left. So you can just think back to all of our friends that left the island and, oh mate, you left too early. I was supposed to come for 3 weeks. And I came out for my birthday like 18 months ago. So as you do in Thailand. I've been here like 50 times, but I didn't expect to stay this long this time. So my name is Dion. I am a COVID complete reality denier, and I'm here in Copenhagen to be with you. And I'm glad you all came to the meeting tonight. So you all get your 18-month chip tonight. So I hope you really enjoy it. I hope the lack of relationship you now have with your parents, because you're all social distancing from the real world. So we don't actually have to deal with any like real COVID issues here in this weird protection bubble that we've got. But I think that I've definitely changed a little bit. You know, it's like when I go to the store, you know, those long door handles, I don't like just grab the door handle in the middle anymore like we used to. You know what I mean? You remember those times? Remember when you used to grab the door handle right in the middle? It's the cold flu. You know, I'm sure all of the other viruses are super jealous of me. I mean, nobody's even talking about chlamydia or herpes or anything. It was like, nobody was talking about it then anyway. So. But when I grabbed the door, I kind of like grabbed the door handle on the top of the door handle. And like when I enter 7-Eleven, it's like I'm a stripper about to start his show. I don't like enter 7-Eleven. I like present myself. I'm here. Beep, beep, beep. That's here. So that's my introduction. So we've got a really great show for you tonight. Our first, I don't know if you asked his last girlfriend, he's a gentleman, I don't know, maybe he is. He's a gentleman. He went traveling for a couple of years after doing like farm shows and like in the backcountry in Ireland, and they really didn't get any of his cheap humor, so he decided to take the show on the road. But before he left, he went to see a doctor for something that he thought might be an STD, but fortunately he was just allergic to wool. He's an animal lover, and he's here tonight, and tonight only. I want you guys to give a big Copenhagen tantric weirdo hug, clapping, don't touch anybody, for Alan.
Thank you, Dion. So they say when you're doing public speaking, you should imagine the audience in their underwear. Now, unfortunately, Thanks, Dion. Unfortunately, that's probably a bit late, so I hope the reverse is true, and if the presenter is in their underwear, that has the same effect. It's funny to be here doing stand-up. When I was going to events here last year, I was going to play parties. And one particular play party I went to was about dirty talk. We were all divided into groups of 4, and there was 2 men and 2 women. So everyone got a turn. The man who, when it was the other guy's turn, he didn't particularly want me involved in the physical part, but he had really enjoyed my dirty talk throughout the night. So I was narrating his dirty talk whilst he was with the 2 ladies. I'll give you a little snippet now, but promise to not get too excited. I'm looking at you, John. I know what you're like, a little mess of you. Rochelle bites Sebastian's neck. Sebastian moans in ecstasy. Elizabeth begins to undo Sebastian's shirt, slowly, button by button, revealing his rock-hard abs. Sebastian has never felt so alive. The juice cleanse he's been doing has really been working. Now those names are actually not real. I am actually terrible at remembering names. Every time I meet a new person or a group of people, I get anxious because there's no fucking way I'm going to remember their names. I've come up with a name for my disability. It's called Name-nesia. Just a combination of name and amnesia. Feel free to borrow it. Unfortunately, the worst part about this disability is that you always seem to meet other name-nesia sufferers. It was actually how I met my last girlfriend in Ireland. We were at a career open day. Career open day. My father came for moral support, and we did an introduction. A career open day is where you meet companies, and we did a group introduction. And as soon as it was over, I knew I'd forgotten everyone's name. And I saw her there, and I thought that maybe she could help me out. And I was like, "What? What's his name? Isn't that your father?" I have a little cheat sheet here, so I lose myself.
Lose yourself.
What did people, did anyone have anything as a child that they wanted to be when they grew up? Astronaut.
Topless ballerina.
Topless ballerina.
Work with that, my friend.
Interesting. When I grew up, I wanted to be a lawyer. I thought money, that was kind of the main thing. But then, even at 11, when someone said there was a lot of work involved, I was like, no, this is not for me. So now when I grow up, I want to be a dictator, and I want to name every man, woman, and child Alan. At least then there's less of a chance of me forgetting their names. And if I do, I'm a dictator. Like, oh, what are you going to do? It's my country. I would like to create a song. I would like to... I'm a little disappointed in the musicians. There's no songs with Alan in it. You know, we have like Jude and Angie, great songs, but okay. Average name. So, yeah. So I have started writing my own little song. Feel free to use it if you must. Alan is a great name, he has a great tan. Watch out for his little fan. He cannot take over Japan. That's why he's in Jordan. He's the leader of our clan. It's very in vogue for dictators to have celebrity friends. Kim Jong-un has Dennis Rodman, who's a famous basketball player. Vladimir Putin has Steven Seagal, somewhat famous movie actor from the 90s. The Chinese president doesn't actually have any friends. I thought, aw, if I was someone nice, that probably would have gotten an aw. But let's talk. Do you know any Does the Chinese president have any celebrity friends that you know of?
His wife is a celebrity.
Ah, okay. His wife is a celebrity.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm actually waiting to meet a woman called Alan.
Now,
We'd match on Tinder, well, I'd see her on Tinder, I'd swipe right, and a few days later I'd get a notification, you've matched with Alan. My opening line would be, nice name. We'd, after seeing each other for a few months, we'd get engaged, get married in Venice, honeymoon in Copenhagen, buy a house with a nice little white picket fence, have a dog, name it Alan. Have a boy, a girl, and we'd name them. Any ideas?
Alan.
Alan. That'd be so confusing in the house. Can you imagine trying to call someone to the kitchen? Alan. Yes, darling. No, not you, honey. I'm looking for our little boy. Yes, father. No, my little princess. I'm looking for your brother. Come on, Alan. Where are you? It would be confusing as hell. My first traumatic name experience was in college, my first year of university. I joined the drama society, and there was a particularly lovely young lady who I think maybe could have been the one, but for my disability of forgetting names. A friend came over to look for an introduction, of which I started, but had completely forgotten that I had forgotten her name until he came over. He was like, "Hey, I'm Rob, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna ruin the love of your life. Who's this?" And I started the introduction, but blanked on her name until she kind of popped up and was like, "I'm Alan." Sometimes I wonder where she is now. But thanks to Facebook, I know. She has 3 kids, 3 different fathers, has been divorced twice, but knows her Prince Charming is out there somewhere. It's not me, okay? Anyone? Not me. I've tried everything whilst in my pursuit to remember names. They say to repeat the name, but that's just become like the process I go through before I forget the name. Like the cunnilingus before penetration. They say to link the name to an attribute or something about the person. So I tried that with the last group of people I met. John was on guitar, so that was easy. Paul sang. George was on bass, and Ringo played drums. Yeah, it's a Beatles joke. I suppose you're all Rolling Stones fans, are you? Fuck off, Mick Jagger. Beatles over Stones. Disappointing. There he is. No, but I actually did try it when I came to this island. The first person I met was Max. And Max wore no shoes, so I was like, okay, no shoes, Max. And the second person I met on this island was called Valerie, and she also wore no shoes. Kind of ruining my thing here, but she's a lady, he's a guy. Okay, we can work through this. The third person I met on the island was called Pete. Now, Pete also wore no shoes, but Pete had no feet. So we couldn't entirely blame that on him. Told him, no feet, Pete. I avoided talking about this last thing tonight, COVID, and how similar it is to getting chlamydia. I've had both, unfortunately, and because they show no symptoms, the phone call you have to make to the people that you've given it to is very similar. Another reason they're so similar is because from the research that I have done, Bill Gates, the Illuminati, and the Jewish people also conspired to create chlamydia as a way to control us. They will stop at no end. Hey, You know the way I said I didn't have it? Yeah, well, I just got the test results back, and it turns out I do. Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing for me too. Yes, I wore protection. I know it's small, but I got the right size this time. No, I'm not getting into big group things without wearing protection. Yeah, well, maybe it slipped off and I didn't notice. Let's not pretend it doesn't feel better without one. Of course, there's always the chance that they actually gave it to you. So, what have you been up to recently? Oh, no, I'm not accusing you of anything. I was just curious about your life. Oh, Michael got it. Who the fuck is Michael? I'm really bad at remembering names. Oh, he's your dad. Oh, I did sleep with him, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'm actually going to keep his notes because that was like legendary. That he worked money someday, so I'm going to keep those. That went well, much better than the practice. Okay, so it was like, you could literally hear crickets because they live in the jungle, so all we heard was crickets when he did
Love
that
you
first
too,
time.
Dion.
We need an audience, and look how sexy this audience is. You know, you're like the type of crowd that any comedian would, you know, sexy bald men and women bustling things. I don't know what to do. Sounds notes. Whoa, I'm actually shaking because that was our take. Give another big round of applause.